Thought for a minute that piece of bumper music, it's a new one, might have sounded a little bit like Footloose from '83. I always thought Footloose was a very overrated song. Look, loose and shoes do not rhyme. All right? They do not rhyme. Steve Burleson's favorite movie, Footloose. Somebody's gonna get that, and he's cackling hysterically and all that. You had to subscribe to the John City Press in the 1990s to understand that joke, I think, right there. But anyway, tell me I ain't local? Come on, I know the area better than anybody here. You know who Artemi Panarin is? What city he's gonna know better than anybody else? New York City. The Blue Jackets are losing goal scorers left and right. And Duchesne, it looks like he's going to sign with the Preds, 70 points from last year, 87-point scorer. Panarin is signing for more than $80, $81 million and change with the Blue Shirts, with the Rangers. That's actually coming down here now. $81.5 million over 7 years. Rangers going to pay it. So, yeah, well, he did score more points last year than Duchesne. Of course, Duchesne also played out long for the Senators. But Panarin, another forward, going to the Blue Shirts, New York Rangers. So, see how that works. Something of a Russian star right there in Manhattan. That works out well, don't you think? That really does, I think. Anyway. Marky Bilson here in conversation with you, Jerry Bonkowski, at the top of the hour, talking about the race he covered in Chicago. And then the Southern Conference, changing the guard. Jim Schaus, new commissioner. His first day on the job is today. And what do we look for him? And then we'll look ahead to football. Also, it's the first time, as Amos succeeds Warren, that Fred Warren has not been the head golf coach since the 80s at ETSU. Bucks were, I think, number 2 in the nation in rifle in '84. They no longer have a rifle team. It's as close as there was a team national champion. I think there was an individual Harrier back in the 70s who won a national championship, but out of ETSU, but no team national title in ETSU history. ETSU came very close in '96, finishing 3rd in the country in golf. Now, we could also say, wait a minute, could ETSU actually be good in a sport that people actually cared to watch? Now, that's a good point, right? That's a real good point, but we shall see. Anyway, speaking of watching sports, baseball is still a very popular spectator sport. I've always said the powers that be, I think since about 1973, have done everything they could. One could actually go with franchise relocation, breaking the hearts of fans, but you eventually had to take the game to the South. You had to take the game with Major League franchises to the North, Canada. You had to take them to California. I mean, I don't think there's any debate about that. Expansion would have been probably the way to go, although, I do look, I'm totally against franchise relocation. I don't care what I sound like when I say that, but no, I don't believe in breaking St. Louis Browns fans' hearts, okay? I mean, it's just the way I am. Still, though, how would you have in today's era 2 teams in Boston, 2 teams in St. Louis, you have 2 teams in the Bay Area, I think Philly could probably do something with it, It's debatable maybe, but I think they could. And look, there are 5 teams around here, and they may all be in Tennessee very shortly. Because the talk is, and this is a bit old, but we mentioned with Boys Cox Field, Malcolm DeVault Stadium falling apart literally. They're looking at it, they had to close some of it down. The idea was, bring your lawn chairs! It has been rated the worst park in minor league baseball. Press box is atrocious. Small, crowded. The windows, how can I explain this? It's not clear glass to look through. It's not even, open them up or something, and there might be, one panel. It's legitimately panels of glass like you might have on your house with 4 panes and all that. That's not the way to look at the ball game through. To walk a long way to get there. It really is an awful park. But anyhow, the idea here now, Malin Luttrell, who like is a president, runs the Bristol Pirates, was recently voted to city council in Bristol, Tennessee. And this wasn't talked about, and I could do a media watch, and I could be as much to blame for this as any, but I guess I just didn't want to, I wasn't ready to take on the idea at a studio in Irwin, Tennessee, whose 5,000 watt signal does get to the lower realms of Bristol, but, well, I wasn't sure how much people would be interested in me railing against or for or whatever Malin Luttrell city council, but you knew this. If he was going to city council, he was going to lobby to take the Bristol Bucks to Bristol, Tennessee from Bristol, Virginia, which I believe they've always been in Bristol, Virginia. Anyhow, the city leaders are looking at, in Bristol, potential economic growth, they always say, if they can move the team from Bristol, Virginia, to, let's say, downtown Bristol, Tennessee, other side of State Street, or maybe by the Pinnacle, or maybe near the racetrack. Used to be a boxing venue in near the racetrack, didn't make it. Seems like the local politicians have been pushing a little bit more for the downtown area. Bristol, Tennessee Mayor Margaret Fearabend thinks that downtown is the place to go. Here's a thing that I don't like. I mentioned this. It looks like a new stadium, $16 million. I've mentioned this time and time again. And then Kingsport is talking about a new stadium. Look, guys, why do we need 5 different baseball teams in the Tri-Cities? Why do the Bristol Pirates, who have at times been the least attended team in all of minor league baseball, affiliated minor league ball, there might be some independent league teams that have less, California or whatever, and the Vallejo Admirals, I haven't checked them out recently, but why? Why do we, we've got 4 other teams. Why do we need to spend $16 million? And admittedly, ballpark in Bristol, Virginia, Boyce Cox Field isn't going to make it anymore. But again, why do we need 4 teams? Why do we need 2 professional sports franchises in Sullivan County? I would be far more, if we're going to spend $16 million there, and I assume $16 million in Kingsport, wouldn't you rather see the Sullivan County entities then come together with that money, put a park, I don't know, where the old Sam's Club is, off of I-81 or in Blountville or something, and get the Tri-Cities on the map, and as I've said before, not have bad baseball played from the rookie league level, that really the community as a whole does not get around. It becomes glorified, Bristol versus Kingsport rivalry, Bristol versus Elizabethton, with nobody from Bristol or Elizabethton on it. This isn't Tennessee High against Elizabethton. This isn't, Kingsport against Johnson City here. Dobbins Bennett and Johnson City with actual people from those towns playing. Instead of coming together, having a major sports franchise, if one could call it AA major sports franchise, or even say the Sally League, and then putting the Tri-Cities on the map with, cities, metropolitan areas of similar size. No, we take a little bit less. Smokies are probably going to move to Knoxville. Then you get another small team in Sevierville. Got to fill that ballpark up. You know what I'd rather see? I'd rather see, say, the Bristol Pirates move to Sevierville. I'd rather see the Tri-Cities keep up with Knoxville, Chattanooga, Jackson, for crying out loud. I'd rather see that level instead of being the low level. My opinion. And to spend $16 million in Bristol, Tennessee, so that you can keep the area small and play at a rookie league level, and not a double-A level, which brings the communities together instead of pitting them against each other, I just don't see it. I don't think it's a good investment. No. I want minor league baseball. I just don't want mom and pop. And it seems like it's a tremendous conflict of interest that, the president of Bristol Baseball Incorporated, or whatever it is, BBI, gets elected to city council in Bristol, Tennessee, and then starts saying, let's build a ballpark here. I'm going to vote on it. Did he run on that campaign? I don't know. Did he run on By the way, though, here's the thing. I mean, we can discuss Bristol, Tennessee versus Bristol, Virginia. We know the sales taxes are lower in Bristol, Virginia. We know that the income taxes, there's no income tax in Tennessee. So, we know, I guess, cost of living in that sense, take-home income, it's a bit more. So, traditionally, exit 5 was going to come, or was it exit 7? I'm trying to read into that before the Pinnacle in Tennessee said, no, we'll pay the almost 10% sales tax here. I never quite got that, but anyway, Crabtree Buick advertises with us, so the sales taxes, I'm not sure what they are on automobiles, but, they're somewhat lower. Certainly the sales taxes on ice cream, let's say, would be. But I've always thought this in terms of things. Bristol, Tennessee had the racetrack. Bristol, Virginia had the ball club. Now, we can discuss, seems like the racetrack would dwarf that, but not if you're a baseball fan. Not if you like baseball more than NASCAR, certainly. But if the Appalachian League moves to Bristol, Tennessee, what does Bristol, Virginia then have? That might be a reason to put a casino in the old Bristol Mall so that, there can be something to do in Bristol, Virginia other than save 3% or whatever it is on sales tax. I'm Mark E. Bilson, Jerry Bonkowski. We'll talk NASCAR, the race in Chicago, after this.
1920 WEM.